Lance Leipold is walking into a dumpster fire. And while he knows that, I think that he's still going to be surprised by how much work there is to do at Kansas. Another coach that's going to try to turn this team around. It feels like an eternity since we had the 2007 team that actually showed some success, and it just hasn't been the same since. If there's a guy that's qualified to do a turnaround at Kansas, it's Leipold, but I just think that there's still a lot. He might have bit off more than he could chew, but someone has to try it. If you're going to bet on someone, I think you could bet on Leipold to get the job done. And number 10, a familiar face for Leipold, defensive tackle Eddie Wilson comes over with him from Buffalo. A guy who, along with number 9, center Mike Nowitzki, two guys from Buffalo that follow Leipold. One of a handful of guys, or two of a handful of guys that came over with him. Guys who will help elevate the consistency. Leipold knows that he can rely on them, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle play in the Big 12. Number 8, linebacker Nick Chanel. 30 tackles last year, 2.5 for loss with 2 sacks. A guy who, it's going to be tough because we don't know who's going to actually start, because it's a new coaching staff, which usually means that there's going to be competition at every position. Nobody's guaranteed anything. And Kansas has some interesting linebackers, and it's going to be fun to see what Leipold's able to do with this new roster. Number 7, Leipold, it wouldn't be a turnaround job without a quarterback battle. Jason Bean and Jalen Daniels are going to go at it this year. Bean comes in from North Texas. Daniels has been there he's the returning guy, and it's going to be tough because they lose their top receiver from 2019, not in 2020, but it's Andrew Parchment to Florida State. So they need a new wide receiver to throw to, and it's going to be tough to do a quarterback battle, quarterback rotation. But right now, there's really no expectations, so maybe you just take a year and try to figure things out, try and build a culture to help you set up you for better for the long run. Number 6, a guy who could be that guy, Luke Grimm. 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. Can he be a playmaker? We're not really sure. We don't know who's going to be, but right now Luke Grimm feels like a good option. Number 5, running back Velton Gardner, 325 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Again, don't know who's going to be the guys, but Velton Gardner has experience and can be, I don't know, he's going to like what he saw from Jarrett Patterson and Kevin Marks at Buffalo. So he should at least be excited that Leipold's coming over. Number 4, linebacker Gavin Potter. At one point, he was a freshman player of the year. Just because it's been Kansas, hasn't been the same player since. But I think Potter has maybe the most potential in Leipold's program. Number 3, wide receiver Kwame Lassiter. Honorable mention Big 12. Probably going to be the go-to receiver for them. 458 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. This offense really has to get something going because it's going to be rough for fans to continue watching what they've been watching in the past. Number 2, safety Kenny Logan Jr., 58 tackles and 2 picks. Again, some playmakers on this defense. I don't know if they're going to be the playmakers this year, but they at least have some options to use this year. Number 1, linebacker Kyron Johnson. Honorable mention Big 12 last year, 42 tackles, 4.5 for loss. A guy who I think is really going to benefit from having Leipold running the show. Kansas just has so much work to do. Even looking at this list, there's probably not a ton that inspires you or gets you excited. But the fact that Lance Leipold is running this program is something that fans should be excited about, and something that we'll be watching for at least the next 2 to 3 years.